I'll just run to the bathroom real quick. Stream started. So, my initial idea was to finish this, and I'm probably going to finish this guy first. However, first thing I want to do is, this guy came in the mail just yesterday, and I really want to get him glued together. I've never actually had an Umber Hulk used in one of my games in D&D, but I like the mini, and I just want to get him glued beforehand. And soon we can get my Aggressors painted up, because got my speed paints in, so we can try using a new recipe to get the colors in just right. Before all that can happen, though, just a few drops there. Just gonna glue this guy together. And also hope that the super glue doesn't dry to my hands before it dries to the model, so that way it holds everything together. At least I hope it does, but we'll see. But, okay. That part seems to have gone on just all right. I want to get this arm thrown on next, just so that way we can just get one side done. Oh, shoot. That. Hey, Crab, how's it going? Just in the middle of getting this guy glued up. I've been waiting on this guy for quite a while, and he finally arrived about 2 days ago in the mail. And that I'm gonna have to carve away, because that's my fingerprint. Well, that'll be fun. Yeah, just wanted to get this guy done, so that way I can have him ready to go, so I can paint him up soon. Because this guy, I've been looking forward to getting this guy for a long time. Mostly just because I know my players are going to hate me for it whenever I eventually throw this thing at them. But, all with due time and patience. However, as we all know, I'm not exactly one for patience. Especially not when I'm the DM. Thank you. Just trying to get this all glued together so that way I can get them primed and ready for later on. Just gotta hope it all goes well. Thank you kindly. I will say though, I had some trouble because when I first bought this, there was a bunch of glue that got stuck in the middle of the tube, so I had to take a needle to fix it so I could actually use this. But so far, this guy's coming together quite well. It's just more of trying to make sure it all lines up nice and evenly. Partially off, but that's the best I'm gonna get for now. Oh yeah? Yeah, well, welcome. I'm fairly new to streaming in general, so you're in good company here. This is definitely not a professional setting. This is just me being a shitter on the internet. I just happen to have fun, and I just do what I can. Okay. Come on now. There we go. Oh yeah, for sure. Giving this hobby a social aspect definitely helps with getting some things done that But yeah, welcome everyone. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everybody's had a decent time. And hope everybody's Easter weekend went well for those who celebrate it. If not, then I hope the weekend was good in general. Just hilariously enough, that went better than I expected. Fair. But also, that, I don't know if my camera's picking up all that well, but yeah, that is the super glue that fused my finger when I got that on. That was a bit of a mistake. However, all in all, excited for this. So, just gonna get the finishing touches on because this is going surprisingly quickly and surprisingly well. Come on now. Oh, that's fun. There we go. Thank you kindly, Lexi. So that's that. How has everybody been today? Everybody doing all right? Anything fun happen? Anything exciting? So far, I spent the day, I went for a walk. I went out to buy some super glue, which I was trying out a new brand because I couldn't get my other one to work. So I bought some of this. It works all right. I just like the applicator. Just chilling. Yeah, fair enough. Never a bad day to be chilling, that's for sure. All right. Seems like he is good. So I'm gonna let the glue cure on him. I gotcha. No, that's fair. I normally stream at night just because I just prefer it, so that way I can do things during the day and talk to people late at night. So I'm gonna have this guy chill in the back a bit, just so that way we have that. Also, for those who were here for the last stream, I was able to fix both of these models with the new glue I got. Oh, that's fine, Crab. But yeah, I was able to get this guy fixed and put him back on the arm, so thankfully this is all in one piece and I got it primed for later. I was able to fix most of her connections on her little tendrils here. And so, and I also got her glued to the base, so I've been able to fix. Thank you kindly. I don't know if I would actually fit that mold, but I appreciate the compliment all the same. But yeah, just got a couple of those built up and fixed. So now hopefully we can just move on to getting the Chimera figured out. Oh, well, you're going to be able to freak me out because I am so not used to compliments and positivity in general. So I am probably going to stumble a few times if you keep complimenting me too much. Which would probably be funny for a lot of people, so feel free to do whatever. I'm just not used to those. Yeah, so far, I want to retouch the mane because I got some coats that layered over him. I want to get the eyes, and then I want to also finish the snake and get him redone. I have no way for you to donate money, Anthony, sorry. The best I can suggest is I've got a discount code for a online drink store. So if you'd like to support my content, all the money I get from that discount code that's in my description, I use to buy more miniatures, paints, and other just stuff. But yeah, just use code Quail for 10% off your order at poggerslifestyle.com. That's the only way you can financially support me. Until then, I'm just kind of a new guy doing all this just for fun mostly. I still don't know how I don't even know why Poggers offered me a discount code. Like, I get some views, don't get me wrong, but I was not expecting a discount code with anybody for quite a while, if ever. So that one, I will be honest, I am very confused about. However, back to the present, and enough about my imposter syndrome. We need to get this base painted up before I neglect it too much and only focus on the base. So, I want to try a little bit of Baylor Brown because I've never actually used this before. I hope it works well, but I've never actually used this color. So we're going to find out if this works for a base at all. Because so far with my other bases in the past, I normally like to blend a little bit of Wraithbone with, where's that other color? I use Wraithbone and Mephiston Red to make a red rock pattern for my bases, but I want to try something different for the Chimera. Because I figure this guy's going to be a little colorful, and since I already used the Mephiston Red for his snake tail, I want to try a different color to let there be some sort of contrast. And I am too much of a coward right now to attempt to make some sort of like shiny rock color for the base. If I was a bit more adventurous, I'd probably try that, but right now I've been feeling really good about how the Chimera is turning out, that I don't quite want to do that. Oh yeah, no, this is a it's a variation of a Chimera. Basically, instead of the goat head, they gave it wings, gave it goat horns, but kept the lion's head and then kept the snake tail that you see in typical Chimera mythology. I just saw this on Etsy. I thought it was cool for the base and its pose. And then when I was painting it last time, a viewer recommended I give it a red, to make the snake tail red. So I tried for that, kind of liked how it turned out, so I'm working with this for now. But yeah, been excited. Thank you. I am very excited with the quality from when I got it, because I buy a lot of minis off of Etsy for my D&D stuff, and, you know, whenever you buy anything online from a new store, hopefully it turns out well, but there's always the chance that sometimes it just doesn't come out the way you would hope. But so far, when it comes to minis for D&D on Etsy, I've had really good luck. I haven't really been let down by anybody yet, so I've been very thankful for that, because I've definitely got my money's worth out of every mini I've bought so far. Then, I feel like, yeah, that stands out a decent amount. I don't know if I want to, I'm going to let the base dry for a bit, but I want to see if maybe I should do a dry brush to highlight some of it. Honestly, when it comes to online content creation, the only thing you can do is just do what you can. The thing is that with it, I have learned with my friends who live stream and myself, you're just going to get bullied for anything. You can either build a community where it's a kind and more like close friends type of bullying, where it's all done in good nature and good spirited and everybody does it not to be mean but to laugh and make jokes, or you can just get bullied because you build the wrong kind of audience. And of course there's going to be people who come in and just tell you horrible things. I have a screenshot, but I haven't been able to frame it, but I've got a screenshot of the first hate comment I ever got on my channel for a video. I remember it to this day. If I could pull up my channel right now, I could show you which video. I think it was on my oh crap, it's a 10-minute video I did on it reviewing an anime, but I think it was the first comment on that video was shit content, shit degenerate, or something like that. I want to get that framed because that was my first hate comment on a video, and I thought it was hilarious. But you're just going to get that kind of stuff when you do anything in a public atmosphere. It's just about bracing yourself and understanding that that's just how people are. Granted, I've also spent a lot of my life working in not so much retail, but just kind of in customer service positions, and well, with customer service, people are just going to hate you for existing because you tell them something they didn't want to hear. So I don't want to say I'm used to it, but it's definitely not something that's foreign to me. I mean, nobody should be used to it in the evil sense. Because again, there's like light harassment and bullying that you get from close friends, right? Like, there's a difference between that and then there's people just being outright malicious with it. So it just depends on how everything goes. People shouldn't be jerks, but you know how it is. People are gonna people. They're just gonna be who they are. You just gotta roll the punches. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just how the world is and how people are. Besides, if you're gonna make content, just make it for the reason you want to make it. I started making it because, like, my channel started as a media review channel. I would make review videos talking about things because there were some times where I would see a piece of media about a series or a channel or something that I liked, and I wanted to talk about it, but to get into autistic detail with it with my friends all the time, not all my friends want to hear it, but I wanted a way to vent and talk about it. So I made my channel originally so I could practice art and just make reviews and videos talking about, like, hey, I saw this. This is the thing from a series I like. Turns out it sucks. And it just kind of changed from there. But fair enough. I mean, you have to stand up for yourself in this world because nobody else will. To assume somebody else will stand up for you is to assume that the world is inherently full of good people. No, you're fine, Lexi. I enjoy having people talk in the chat. It gives me something to talk more about, and I feel like I'm actually talking with people. I know as a streamer you're not supposed to be parasocial, but I do like talking with people in general. And so when people talk more in the chat, I feel like I'm actually being a bit more of a successful streamer because then I can respond and talk more. But yeah, no. Standing up for yourself is extremely important. The only problem is you got to learn how to do it in a controlled manner. Because people respect how you stand up for yourself more, and depending on which way you do it. But definitely takes a while. It's not easy. Oh yeah. Trust me, gosh, I will say, because I have to vent a lot whenever like certain things happen, because growing up I was a kid who was left alone a lot, and I got heavily into Star Wars and its lore. And I will say right now, my goodness gracious, I haven't had a channel to talk a whole lot about things, but I've been very vocal about the issues with Star Wars and everything that's been happening in the past decade, really. But now that I have a YouTube channel, I'm actually able to make videos and kind of vent and about, like, you know, some of this kind of sucked, let's be real. And it feels good to talk with people about it, because sure, I've got friends in life who are nerds, but they're not all nerdy for the same thing. And so it feels good to be able to vent a little bit and have people engage in discussion with me on, hey, XYZ, what? Let's talk about it. And that's kind of just how I feel, because, oh yeah, for sure. The only thing is you also got to make sure that whatever you call yourself, you have to stick with it. The reason I called myself Degenerate Quail was for multiple reasons. Back in the day, because I've been an anime fan since 2011. And the thing is, back in the day, for old school anime content, the joke was we were all degenerates because we knew what anime was, and most people who watched anime just assumed it was all hentai no matter what. And so, because I like talking about anime, but I was an older anime fan, I just call myself Degenerate Quail. Quail because my favorite bird is the California quail, And degenerate because I just wanted people to know, yeah, I'm going to talk about whatever I want, and I do not see myself as a good person. Because the other thing is, depending on what you name yourself, people are going to assume things about who you are based on your name. And the thing that I didn't want to get caught in was with how some content creators, depending on what they name themselves or how they act, a lot of people just assume that, like, they put on their version of what a good person is on that person, expecting them to be the same. And so I wanted to call myself a degenerate just so people would not think that I am a good person, and instead would judge me based on how I act rather than what they believe is a good or bad person. And so my name straight up was to gatekeep myself, just so that way I don't have to worry about other people coming on here and saying, oh, I thought you were a good person. No, I've never said I was a good person. I've called myself a degenerate since day one, so you played yourself if that's what you thought. And that's just how I wanted to be, is I just want to be a nerd who is in his corner of the internet ranting and raving. People can visit, people can say hi, I'm going to be cordial, but at the end of the day, I am a degenerate with opinions, and that means that sometimes I'm not going to agree with people. And I will ruffle feathers because I find it fun. But that's just how things go. Overall, I enjoy it. I think it's fun, but there's definitely things that you just got to be careful of when doing content creation in general. Thank you kindly, Lexi. Yeah, thankfully, I've been able to work on things that just talk as is, but also I've been able to, with my new job recently, I've been going to the gym much more often because, goodness gracious, at the end of my shift, I need to vent my anger and frustration out at something. Because, for context, I work as a caregiver in an assisted living facility, so I help old people with their day-to-day stuff. And quite honestly, lost quite a bit of faith in humanity just working at a place like that. Not necessarily because old people are evil, but because there's just certain things that you just got to deal with. And blowing off some steam in the gym definitely helps. Then, I feel like I'm at a crossroads here because I need to figure out what I want to paint his eyes. Anybody got any suggestions on what would be a good standout for the eyes? Kinda thinking a blue might be good to have something stand out, but I'm not entirely sure. So, while I think about the colors I can paint his eyes, I'm going to get another base coat on this. Just so that way I've got an even coating for the Baylor Brown. Medium green to go with the green. Okay. Yeah, we could definitely look into that. Let's see. For green, I've got not a whole lot. I got Lauren Forest and I've got Warpstone Glow. I think Warpstone's a little too vibrant or it might, I don't know. Because we need something vibrant that stands out. Then I've got these two, but I've barely used flat green or intermediate green, so I don't know how well they're gonna. Maybe that's what I should do, as I should experiment with those two colors to see which one stands better for the green eyes. Well, I'll try it. We'll see how it goes. First, just get another layer onto here. Because it's a fairly thin layer, and the issue right now is you just see a lot of the black primer sticking out underneath. And I want to get an even coat on here, and then I want to dry brush some highlights on the top afterwards. Final Destination movies. I don't know anything about those movies, honestly. What are those about? Like, I have not seen a lot of movies in general, so if we're talking about movies, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions just because I am very far behind the curve on those. Okay, fair enough. I mean, horror can be fun to watch. It just depends on what it is exactly and what it focuses on. Because I'll definitely watch a scary movie or a horror movie, don't get me wrong. However, there's a difference between something that's interesting and something that's just what I call gore porn. So, I don't know. What's Final Destination really about? Like, what's the story behind them? Oh, where'd my toothpicks go? I need those. Oh man, did my toothpicks disappear again? I needed those. Alright, no toothpicks, so we're gonna wing this. Where this one kid has a flash forward and sees a traumatic scene, they stop it, then the person who survived are in a row. Died first. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to check it out. That does sound interesting. I kind of like this green for the eyes. I think I'm going to stick with it for both of them. I got out both greens to try them out, but I like how this one's going. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I've been trying to get caught up on movies and taking people's suggestions, and so I'll happily take a look at that later. Alright, I'm gonna have to go back over and fix the face, but overall I think we did a decent job with that. To fix the face isn't too bad. That's just Xander, Dustin, Wraithbone. But yeah, I'll have to check it out sometime, because like I said, I'm very behind on movies. I'm trying to get back and get caught up on things, so I don't know if you saw Crab in the chat earlier, but Crab and I have been talking a lot, and because I remember watching a little bit of the Transformers stuff when I was younger, but he is a full-on lore expert for it, and so I've been talking to him about it because I was curious about actually watching some, and he's given me a guide onto where to go, where to start, and how to get things going. So I'm excited to check it out. Another one of my friends has been helping me with getting into the Gundam series, and so right now I've been watching, what's it called? I think it's like, oh gosh dang it, it is a name I can't remember right now. It's like Blood of Iron, I think, Gundam Blood of Iron. But I've been having fun getting caught up with that, because so far the only mecha series I really watched growing up was the Macross series. And I'm super far behind on the Macross series as is, so I'm just trying to get caught up and figure things out. I'm behind on a lot of series and movies, but also as a kid I spent most of my time just rewatching the same stuff I liked. However, not a whole lot of people really watched the Bionicle movies when I was younger, and so if I want to have normal conversations about movies and stuff, I gotta make sure I can talk to people about normal movies too. Okay. Decent highlight there. I need to get the wraith bone on the teeth, and then I need to get the actual pink inside the mouth there. Then we're getting decent to him being done, which I'm excited for, because I have needed to finish this guy for a long time. Yeah. I think the most recent movie I watched is... Thank you. The most recent movie I watched was, I was talking with a girl and we were looking at different movies, and she wanted to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hadn't seen any of them because I just wasn't sure if I'd actually want to watch it or if I would like it when I was younger. However, she was very insistent that we watch it, so we met up, we talked for a bit, we watched the movie. We saw the beginning of the first one, and then we watched the Netflix remake. And I gotta say, Netflix remake wasn't that good. Like, it was fine. There's a Texas Chainsaw game. Oh, goodness. Of course there is. But yeah, no, just... like, watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2022 version from Netflix, wasn't that good. Like, the opening van scene in the first one was so tense, so creepy, and set you on edge so well and so quickly, that getting to the new one, I just didn't care. Like, there's some jump scares that definitely set me up, but I wasn't all that nervous, and I didn't care that much in the new one that came out. No, that's fair. That's fair. For me, I don't mind horror, but I like more thriller. And I say that because I like things that are more psychological based, that are more of, it's not blood and gore all the time. But it's kind of why I don't like the Saw movies, as I've told people, is I call it gore porn. There's just a lot of death, there's blood and guts everywhere. And there's a lot of tension, sure. I just don't find it as enjoyable as something like the Alien series. Like, first Aliens movie, scary, it was tense, but there wasn't a lot of blood, death, and gore. Yeah, Netflix is 50-50 on their stuff. Because, on the one hand, Netflix made my favorite anime of all time, Violet Evergarden. Phenomenal anime. I will tell everybody to watch it if they're willing to listen to me. It's my favorite. But at the same time, they also made stuff like Drifting Dragons, that it's just... it's alright, but it's not good. Which... yep, My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer. Not bad starting places. Violet Evergarden is my favorite. It features... I want to make a video talking about how it saved my life, because the entire point of Violet Evergarden is somebody discovering emotions and learning to understand what emotions are. It's a very emotionally based story that really helps. Oh, Cyberpunk Edgerunners is very heartwarming. I absolutely suggest it. It is a phenomenal show. Love that one to death. It's definitely going to be one of my top 10. But My Hero Academia, I remember I got into for a little while. All good, Lexi. Thank you for stopping in and for saying hi and for talking for a bit. I hope you do well, and I hope everything goes well. Get some sleep, though. You might have insomnia, but that's no excuse to not get a couple hours of sleep every night. So take care now. But yeah, no, I remember years and years ago, I got into the hype with My Hero Academia, and it was okay. I liked it a lot when it first came out, but as the longer My Hero Academia went on, the less I cared, because I just did not like how the story was progressing to the point where I have an entire essay that I've written out but I haven't made the video of, where I explain to people why I think Ida would have been a better main character for My Hero Academia than Deku, because Ida was just a much more emotionally set up and resilient character than Deku ever was in the first few seasons. And he just came out as a better hero. He had more personality, he had more things invested in the plot as a whole, and he just spent more time actually being involved. Because Midoriya's character personality remained fairly much the same for as far as I read through. And his only character progression was, oh, I didn't learn I could kick things. Like, 2 seasons of the anime, and we get he learns how to kick shit. That was just annoying, because I agree, Crab, I agree, because the class had so many interesting characters with more conflict and more, they had more skin in the game than Midoriya for quite a few arcs. And so I find it difficult to think that that he was the best and the only reason why we should watch it. Because Asui, very interesting. Tokiyami, very interesting. Todoroki, everybody loves him. But there's just so much more to that series that could have been, and we just got the most milquetoast protagonist, and it just kind of dragged the whole series down. Because I understand, like, he's supposed to be the main character, but there just wasn't much more. See, Bakugo was a really good character. And I liked how he came across. He was an absolute jerk, but he cared. He just had a bad way of showing it. So he was abrasive, but he did know what he was doing, and he was a decent hero, too. Developing military styles of leadership, I think, would have been very interesting to see. Had the series taken chances to have Bakugo actually do more. But I only got as far as I read in the manga up until like around season 6 that aired, and then I stopped reading for a while. The anime caught up to season 6, and I just didn't care. I just kind of lost interest because it was all about Deku getting more power, but not Deku really having anything. Also, because the Gentle Criminal arc should have challenged Deku more, but they really resolved that so quickly that it just kind of came across as cheap. Like, there was no development for him when that really should have been the arc that developed him into doing more, or wondering if he was doing the right thing, upholding the system he was in. I don't quite remember that part. I will be honest, I don't remember that at all. But that sounds like it would have been interesting to see. Because I think Bakugo was a great candidate to become a leader. Like, he might have learned to soften up as time went on, but he was definitely kind of a very tough-on person. And he was kind of the answer needed for a lot of what was happening in the overall story. They definitely needed his character for more. But we didn't really get his character as much as we needed. But I don't know. Like I said, I kind of stopped watching My Hero Academia for a while. I stopped reading, I stopped watching it. Then when I heard how it ended, I was glad that I quit. Because the ending to My Hero Academia just sounded awful. I understand that's how the author wanted to end the story, but regardless of intentions, I just felt like it was lackluster to say the least. But I don't know. I've always had the dissenting opinion on things. Because I've never had the popular opinion on a lot of stuff anyway, so yeah, no surprise if I still have the bad opinion anyways. Oh boy. Soul Eater was good. I loved Soul Eater as a kid. I still listen to the first opening from TM Revolution because that was such a good opening. And the beginning to Soul Eater was really good too. I wish they didn't, because I know between the manga and the anime they had different endings, which is sad because the actual ending to Soul Eater was good. I love the art style, and I loved how the dynamic between the different characters worked. They really knew what they were doing when they made that series, which makes it all the more tragic because I really couldn't follow through with Fire Force. Fire Force was interesting. I liked it. I just kind of stopped caring as much as time went on. I think I got through most of the season 2 and I just didn't stay in. Oh yeah, the anime ending to Soul Eater was an anime original. They did not do the official ending that the manga had. That's why there's some controversy behind people who liked the anime and people who liked the manga. I kind of just look at it as two separate entries. I liked both, but there's definitely some strengths and weaknesses on either side. But yeah, it's kind of, Soul Eater was a good series, but yeah, it suffered from the anime original ending that a lot of series had back in the mid to early 2000s. Of, hey, this is an established story. How are we going to end it? Because maybe the manga hadn't finished yet. Well, anime original ending. Let's see how it goes. And it doesn't end as well as the story. So, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it's definitely, I would call it controversial. But yeah. No, that's very fair. That is something you just have to do depending on the series. So yeah, I get that. I just try to take the, like, I try to be, when discussing like the overall facts, I try to be more of a fence sitter, just because I try to be neutral in my opinion when discussing like things out at first. Like I will give my opinion later on, but sometimes I just want to be careful with like, okay, this is just objectively what happened. I don't want to say anything good or bad just yet. Just so that way I can let people know, hey, this is just how some things go. Oh shoot, really? Gosh dang. Okay. I think what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna open up, because I want to have this stand out a bit more. I think I'm gonna give I think I'm going to try for a bit of a dry brushing with the orange, just to see if how that goes on the base here. It might turn out okay, it might turn out horribly. We shall see. I'm hoping it turns out alright, but no time like the present to practice and to figure out what happens. Really? Oh, well. Glad to know. Thinking of which, I need to finish this guy, because I got a new paint in that I'm excited to try out. Where did I leave it? Because my original idea was I tried to mix the orange with bronze to try to make the armor shine more. However, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to recoat everything with I'm going to get yellow on the cracks, get a coat of bronze, and then I'm going to use the speed paint over the top. So that way I get a shiny metallic pumpkin color to it. I'm hoping that works out well for this guy, but we shall see in due time. First, I want to experiment a little bit with this before I throw it on him, because it's a very cool mini, but I'm just nervous about getting it wrong. Ugh. Also, I just need to practice orange more because I want to make more. On Etsy, I went through a binge and found a bunch of pumpkin-styled monsters. And I just think having a pumpkin monster, like pumpkin patch themed, like Halloween one-shot to do, would just be cool to have on hand for whenever Halloween rolls around and people want to try D&D with me. I think it'll be cool, but that can come later. First, we're gonna try getting some dry brushing out first. See how it goes. I mean, yeah, that's actually popping decently. I guess orange was the correct answer for that. I am surprised. I just wanted to have an excuse to use my orange because I barely get to use it. But that's actually kind of working. Sounds like it'll be a graveyard smash. Okay, I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera, but the orange is actually really lightening up the brown. That there's definitely some more highlights that make it a bit more vibrant in an earth tone way. I actually like how that turned out a lot. So I think the last thing I just need to do is just glue this guy down. I mean, I also gotta wait for the pink to dry in that mouth so that way I can finish getting some blood for the blood god in there to make it a bit more intimidating, but I think we're fine to just call this guy good now. I mean, I also need to figure out what I did for the color scheme here, because I don't remember how I did that. Like, yes, I did it last week, but I don't remember the colors I use to blend for that, and I don't want to do dark black just on that. So we're gonna experiment a little here. I should probably actually announce what colors I'm using, just so that way in the future I know, and I don't accidentally like grab the wrong thing, or if I forget my thing, I can just refer to an old video and go, oh hey, that's what I used. Let's see, because I'm gonna try mixing Xandri dust with a little bit of black, and we'll see if that works. Because maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't quite remember. So we're gonna experiment, and we'll just see how it goes. If all else fails, I make a mistake and I have to repaint over it again. Really, what's the weather been like over there? For me, I had a 54-degree day with high wind but clear sun and skies. So I have been thriving when I was thriving when I went for a walk this morning. Super rainy and super windy. Ah. Fun. Granted, I'm also from Oregon, so it rains so often here, we just call the rain liquid sunshine, so. Hey. I don't know how the rain is over there, but I know that I definitely like the rain. Makes it easier for me to stay at work and stay indoors all day. Because when there's actual sunshine outside, I want to run out into the sun. All right. Blew through the closed storm shelter door and forced the basement door open. What's that? Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Yeah, that definitely sounds pretty strong. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, that's some real wind then. Gosh dang. Go for it, Direwolf. What's up? Have I heard of the movies Terrifier? I will admit the name sounds familiar, but off rip I could not name anything about it. So I would say I think I've heard the name in passing. I have no idea what the actual movies are about, though. No. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is heartwarming. It's gonna tear your heart out as much as it warms it up, So prepare to have everything well done. But yeah, it's heartwarming. It's got some wholesome love story elements to it. It's just tragic. Oh. Huh. I mean, I don't mind gore. I just don't want it excessive. It just kind of, like, for me, it depends. Just because sometimes gore hits a little too close to home with some of what I've done in real life for work and stuff, that I'm just nervous. An immortal killer clown. That definitely has my attention as a premise. Not gonna lie. A little bit on there, on here, and on here. All right, press this down. Oh, fair, fair. All right, good to know then. Keep that in mind. Thank you, Direwolf. Scream movies, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I haven't seen either of those. Like, just being perfectly honest, I have not seen either of those, so I would not know. Good to know. Thank you kindly. But yeah, I'm going to have to add these to a list for things to watch, because I am definitely far behind and I'll have to check some of this stuff out. Okay. I think, though, we can call this guy, for the most part, done. Just gotta wait for the super glue to finish curing on him, so... Oh, shoot. Super glue is still running. Alright, thank you kindly, Direwolf. Take care now and get some sleep. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna throw this stuff back up here. Gonna move him off to the side so we can say we finished him, thank goodness. Yeah, I don't know too much about Rob Zombie. I know like a little bit about his music because I've heard some of it from time to time. Can't say I know anything about his movies. At least not off rip, nothing comes to mind. Okay. So, Chimera's done. Now let's move on to some dry brushing, because we've got a lot of that to do. Because a while back, I started looking into how to do black armor. The original idea was, from what I learned, you take and dry brush a bunch of light gray blue stuff right onto the armor, then do a thin coat of black. My black, as you can see, was a little too dark, so I have my new secret weapons, speed paints. I'm going to try both of these out to see which ones I like more, but I'm hoping that I can do a bunch of dry brushing for the blue on the black armor, and then I can get a speed paint black over them, so that hopefully we get the blue-gray highlights that we need on their armor. I'm hoping this works out, but we shall see. If it doesn't work out, then back to the drawing board and I gotta try again. Ugh. I'm gonna carefully open this bottle of paint because I want to make sure I don't spill all of it, because I spent good money on this and I would rather not lose it. Okay. Pardon me, I just gotta get a lot of paint onto my wet palette so we can test this out. This guy's got a pretty good angle, so we're going to start with him for doing all the dry brushing. Give me a second to load up my brush. Then okay. It's a little too much at first, but I think this should work fine. Red versus Blue, yep. I watched Red versus Blue. I got caught up to it back in 2017 or so, I believe. Because I remember liking a lot of Red versus Blue back in the day. But after I got caught up, I didn't watch it for a bit, and then I think like 3 other seasons came out and I was too far behind. Because I know they've kept it going up until recently, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I remember thinking it was pretty fun back in the day. I really liked when they brought Monty onto the set just so he could animate some of their fights. Because Monty did phenomenal work with what he could. Those fights were phenomenal to watch. Goodness gracious. Okay. Okay. I kind of like how this is going. I'm going to give him a few minutes to dry. We're going to try dry brushing another guy. Then I'm going to go back and try out the speed paint on him. So the first fight Monty animated for Red versus Blue was the Tex fight, when Tex fought all of the Reds. That was the first fight Monty animated for Red versus Blue, and then up until he died, he was animating in Red versus Blue as well. But yeah, he was animating for Red versus Blue for a little while. Because when they brought him on to do Ruby, They just said, hey, we love how you do your fight animations. Could you do the same for red versus blue to spice things up with us too? Like, that was, I think the text fight came as a precursor to the Ruby Red trailer of them saying, hey, guess who we got working with us? He made this fight for us. Now he's going to make an entire series for us dedicated to him just doing more of this that you guys love. That was kind of like part of their marketing strategy. Oh yeah, no, the text fight was great. I loved it immensely. It was a good fight. They did really well with it. Especially with Caboose being the one that was supposed to help the Reds. I don't remember if he was alive for those fights, but I believe he had a hand in them, yes. I don't quite remember the timeline for those fights, because I got into Red versus Blue way after I got into Ruby. But I believe he was in there for that. But I could very much be wrong, so if I am wrong, please somebody correct me, because I do not quite recall. Alright, let's throw the dry brush to soak for a bit, then we're going to grab this so we can get that black on. Yeah, I'm going to have to check the credits now because I don't remember if he was in the tower fights with the briefcase. Because it's definitely his style. Oh yeah. Oh gosh dang it. All right. Speed paint. Are you the answer for my needs? Oh, that is so good. Okay. Here it is. Here it is. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Thank goodness. Okay. Pardon me if you heard that, sorry. But oh, thank goodness. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out, but this is turning out exactly how I needed it to. It's black, but because of the dry brushing with speed paint over the dry brushing, there's still highlights, and it's not perfectly black. Oh, thank goodness. Though I need to thin out the speed paint a bit now, because I don't want it too thickly on there, just enough that pulls up in the areas I need it to, but still highlights. Oh yeah. There's a lot of good, a lot of bad. It really is just a melting pot of really whatever it is that people can imagine to come up with. It's inspiring to a degree, and also terrifying. But again, I don't know if it's showing up all that well on the camera, but as you can see with the dry brushing from the blue, the speed paint goes over it, that turns it to more of a super dark blue that just darkens everything I need it to. But there's pre-highlights kind of applied to it, so that shines a bit more. And that is so good. I am so excited about this. Now, if I was better at painting evenly, then this would look even better, but that's something I'm going to practice more on. That's going to take me a while to master. But in the meantime, I am perfectly content with how that is turning out. So, gonna let this guy dry a bit. Then we're moving on to this guy. Gonna get some speed paint on him. And then hopefully we will call it good there for these two. Because then after that I should be able to get everything else done by getting details in the purple and all the other things that are supposed to pop out a bit more. Oh right, this guy was going to paint his helmet differently. My favorite villain. I would say my favorite villain since I was a kid was Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She was just a fun villain to watch because she knew she was evil, and it was just kind of fun because she was just kind of... She had that Broadway flair, I would call it. You could tell she was evil. You knew she was evil from the get-go, but she was fun to watch be evil. I always enjoyed that because I don't care about how other people rank villains. I just want a villain that's fun to watch, and Ursula was just so good every time she was on screen for the original cartoon for The Little Mermaid. Loved her to death. Outside of that, I would say after her, I like Rudaka from the Bionicle series as a minor villain. She was really fun because she was a backstabber, and she helped cause regicide and help the heroes inadvertently by being evil while pursuing her own goals. So she was also fun. She also just had a really good voice that as a kid awoke things in me. We don't need to discuss that. But I would definitely say she was really fun, and I liked her a lot as a villain. After that, there's a Netflix Bionicle movie? Oh, is it from the reboot? I think that might have been from the 2019 run. Because I think that's a different continuity altogether. Because I know they tried rebooting Bionicle a while ago, but I didn't hear about it because I was a missionary at the time, so I was a little busy and had restricted internet access. Because I think they tried to reboot the whole series by doing it like with Tahu and doing another Mask of Light movie, right? I think that was it. I don't remember either. I just remember everybody saying the Bionicle reboot was very meh, and I just never looked into it because I just didn't like the new style that they had for the Bionicle. They kind of over-designed the kits for the reboot. Because I was willing to forgive Hero Factory for being new because Hero Factory was simple. And the simplicity kind of made it cool again. But with the new Bionicle series, when they tried to reboot it, it was just overly complicated to the point that I just had no interest in actually giving it a fair shot just because there's too much. The designs were too busy. They were overmade. It's why I'm cautious with how a lot of Bionicle fans make their mocks nowadays. Because to this day, I'm on a couple of like Facebook and other meme pages for Bionicle, and a lot of people do their mock MOCs where they just make their own OCs but build it out of Lego parts, and they're cool. Don't get me wrong, they are cool, but a lot of them just feel over designed to me. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but there's something to be said about having a simple design that just catches the eye more than having somebody just overbuilt. I don't know. That's just kind of me, though. I might just be a little too critical of them. Legends of Metro Nui is my second favorite Bionicle movie. Legend Reborn, I remember when that came out, and it's not a... gosh. For the fourth Bionicle movie, I have a lot of opinions because I like that they made another Bionicle movie. They just took way too long to greenlight it. Because by the time they got the fourth movie out, we had gone through the best part of the comic story arcs, and we got to what was the weakest of the comic book story arcs. Because gosh dang it, once they threw Mata Nui in the Mask of Life into space, and he goes onto the like Spherus Magnus or whatever it is, like the new planet, the story just went downhill. Like, it was a genuinely interesting story. They had to find a way to end it somehow. But the fourth movie just came... Yeah, no, Bionicle for a story, they started as a multimedia story, which is why it was confusing to follow Bionicle in the early days. Because you originally had the comic books that came out. Then if you went to the school book fairs, they had the Scholastic book fairs that had these mini novels of like 120 pages of something that happened alongside the comics. And then they had the movies come out as well. The issue being, if you wanted to keep up with all of it, if you read the comic would say, see this movie or see this part of the movie, see this book to get the story of what happens here. So it wasn't all contained to the comics, and you had to go out of your way to find all the different books and movies. And so it was confusing for a while. After the third movie, however, they stopped doing the books, and they focused everything on the comics. Once that happened, the comics definitely got a lot more love, and the story became a lot more focused, and people were able to follow it a lot more easily. And that is where you got, because once they finished the third movie, they started doing the comics, and then after that, you had the Voya Nui series, which took off, and a lot more people enjoyed it. But you also got a lot more people being able to follow and focus on it too. Oh yeah, the comic for Bionicle on the first iteration was interesting because it started out really telling a cool story. As it got more detailed, it became very interesting, and it ties in with the movie pretty well, but not fluidly. I say not fluidly for a distinct reason. It's because in and out of the comics, if you wanted to follow the story, you had to watch like 5 to 15-minute segments of the movie, read through the comics, pause, watch a few more segments, read through the comics. It was definitely a choice they made. But when they condensed everything into just the comics, it got really good. The problem is, the best part of the comics really came from generation, oh gosh, is it 5? When they went to Voyanui, where it's had Jaller and Matoru go off with their group, that's really when the comics jumped up, and that's when the story really went down. But yeah, between the books and the comics of Bionicle, they go into detail about the lore, and I mean detail. They also really tackle some hard topics like eugenics and genocide. Like, they go many places. But shout out to them for teaching 10-year-olds why eugenics are bad. But also, yeah, it was a time. I enjoy the comics because I used to be, when I was younger, my grandparents subscribed to the Lego magazine, and so every month I got a new issue, and I would be able to read along with the Bionicle comics that came out, along with the other Lego comic series that were being made at the time. Because I remember they had a Lego Star Wars comic coming out for the longest time too, which was also at the same time that the the Clone Wars was airing. So you had some interesting references as that all happened. But it was really cool. Oh yeah. Okay, we keep talking about it. I need to go grab my Bionicles off their shelf just so I can show you guys the small collection I have on my shelf. Because I always talk a big game about it, but I can't just keep talking about it and not use this as an excuse to show off what I got. So, gonna detour a little bit for just a second. All right, I gotta zoom out the camera for this because this is a bit of a bigger. Yeah, this is my light. So, this is one of the first ones I bought when I had adult money. Is the Rudaka set, one of my favorite villains from the whole series. That was very interesting. Like, I see the vision with making her weapon like this. It was a little weird. I do have the Ratuka spinners saved in the box. However, I put the Ratuka spinner in the box so I don't lose it. I've got Nadiki, the original set, which I just keep the disc in his mouth. This isn't the disc that came with him, but it's the one that came with him when I bought him from eBay. So I've got Nadiki, because I liked his design as a kid. And then I have a Hordika Vakama that I pose like this. I've got his other flame thing in his canister, but I liked keeping him a bit more closer to the movie, so have him like that. And then one of the first Bionicle sets I ever got was a Hordika Nuju, so for nostalgia's sake, I had to get him as well. But yeah, those are the 4 I have right now. I want to build up my collection later to finish that. Yeah, now I can officially say I've shown people my actual Bionicle sets, because I keep talking about them, but I never actually showed them yet. Figured now is a better time, no time like the present, just to get those. Yep, he is in the Legends of Metro Nui movie. He was a Dark Toa who betrayed the Toa. He betrayed Toa Lacan and all of Metro Nui, the city. And as a ironic punishment, Makuta Pterrodax. No, it wasn't Pterodax. It was the Shadowed One. The Shadowed One turned Nadiki from a Toa into a half insect, half sentient creature, because he wanted to make sure that although Nadiki betrayed the Toa, he wanted to make sure Nadiki could never go back and betray the Brotherhood of Makuta. And so Nadiki was forced to be evil because he was permanently transfigured. The funny thing and the ironic thing is Nadiki's afraid of insects, so making him part insect terrified him for decades. He hated his new body and his new form. But out of sheer evil enjoyment, the Shadowed One thought it was a fitting punishment for a traitor to have that kind of a body while serving him. But yeah, there's a lore dump about Nadiki, my favorite villain from the second Bionicle movie. I loved his kit. I got him. But I also want to get. There's some people who make the mock kits. I like how they remade a Nadiki for future designs to incorporate a more movie accurate version of his set. And some people have it for sale on eBay, so I want to get it. Sorry, I get excited and a little monotonous when I'm talking about stuff like that. Bionicle was a very big part of my childhood, and I absolutely loved it. So when I get the chance to nerd out about Bionicle, you can bet your ass I am taking that chance. But also, Selection, how you doing, man? Everything all right? Glad to see you. Glad to see you here. Hopefully, this also means you got a decent amount of sleep too. But yeah, no. Bionicle was a very big part of my childhood, and I spent many years reading the comics, collecting the books, and just getting into it. That I kind of want to rebrush on everything. That was Kreka. Kreka was a Rahi, if I'm not mistaken. He was a very sentient and aware Rahi. Because I don't think he was never a Toa, if memory serves me right. He was just a dark hunter from the beginning. But I don't fully remember his origins either. But I was looking at getting Kreka's set too, just because I already have a Nadiki set. So getting Kreka as well, just to stand next to him, it'd be pretty fitting to have those two together. Rahi is the name for animals and other creatures in the Bionicle universe. So, for example, you have the Kikanalo from the second movie. That for the promotional for the movie, Toa Lacana and a Kikanalo set came out. The Kikanalo were those weird, like, bull kind of creatures that they had. That's a Rahi. Rahi it's just a fancy name for these are animals. Or these are creatures of mythic proportion that aren't Toa, aren't Matoran, aren't Makuta, and aren't the crap. So it's Turaga, Matoran, Makuta, Toa, and then there's the Dark Hunters. Then you have a couple other different creatures with different names. Gosh, I need to brush up on this because now I'm starting to forget everything. But yeah. Yeah, Bionicle was a very big part of my childhood. I even remember one of my favorite video games was the Bionicle Heroes game that came out on the Wii. I found it in Goodwill for like $10, I think. I remember playing the absolute crap out of that game. But the embarrassing part is, I didn't know you could upgrade your weapons in that game. So, I considered it, but I think there's other people who've already done lore videos for Bionicle, so I'll have to look into those. Because if I want to, I wouldn't mind making one. But I also don't want to step on other creators' toes if somebody's already done it. Because if somebody else already made one, then I want to make sure I either go in more depth from what they did, or I need to approach it from a different perspective. So that way I make it fresh and unique and I don't look like I'm copying somebody else's homework. Because Bionicle has a dedicated fan base. And I want to make sure that I'm respecting those who were there before me, because some people started making their content much longer than I did. Because there's a channel on YouTube called The Shadowed 1-1. I followed his work for a little while. He's done videos on it. But he also made an edit so that you can watch all of the Bionicle movies in chronological order. And I absolutely love the fact that he did that, because being able to watch all of the Bionicle movies in chronological order is just kind of a fun way to have my friends who played with them when they were younger but never got into the story to be like, hey, let's watch the series. That's fair, man. That's fair. School is important, so As long as you're doing what's right and getting by, that's all I hope for. If all else fails, I have no problem seeing you every once in a while. Just as long as you're being responsible with your own time. Da-da. But one thing I did want to do is I wanted to go over, like, I wanted to make a video about why I think Rudaka is a really good villain and how she was influential to me as a writer from when I first saw her and how she's influenced what I want in a villain versus what I've seen nowadays. Because I think Rudaka is a really good example of here's how to make a female villain that works. Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah, all of my sets when I was older, like I got older, I got into the I don't care about my toys phase anymore. So my mother gave my Bionicle sets to my cousin. And he had them for a while. And so since they were his, I just went, all right, they're his. And so now I'm just buying sets off eBay whenever I got some spare cash. That's why I've got the few figures I do. Because originally I had just about every Toa from... It wasn't the Anika, it was the Toa Mari. I had every Toa from the Toa Mari to the... up until the Gladiatorial set. Up into that series, I had all of them. I saw the first episode of Devil May Cry. I saw the first episode. So I am getting through it. I am getting it started now. I've been bouncing between a couple different series because my friend's also getting me to watch the Gundam series. And I got started with... what's it called again? Gosh dang it. Like Blood of Iron? Or Orphans of Iron? I don't remember. Hey, Roosh. Yeah, it's, Iron-Blooded Orphans, that's a thank you, yeah. Because bouncing between the Devil May Cry anime and then Iron-Blooded Orphans, I've been honestly enthralled with Iron-Blooded Orphans. Because I told my friend that I wanted to get into more mecha series, because as a kid I watched the Macross series, loved Macross, Transformers was cool, Guyver was fun, and then as a teenager I got into the Aquarion series. But then I never really got into Gundam, but my friend builds Gundam kits as well as Warhammer stuff. So I just asked him, hey, if I get into Gundam, I'm going to start building kits, so what would you suggest as like a good entry point to watch Gundam? And he went Iron-Blooded Orphans because he and I have similar robot tastes. Dude was right, because I am hooked. I started watching today, and I got, I think I'm on episode 10 now, and I started today. So, definitely there. Few sets, nothing special to collect. Hero Factory had some good stuff. Again, I liked Hero Factory because of how simple they were. Ah, I see, okay. Oh, I watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners when it came out. That one, I played the Cyberpunk game, and so when Edge Runners came out, I'm like, oh, I already played the game, I gotta watch this. And gosh dang it, it tore my heart out, and I loved it. Let's see. But Hero Factory was good. Like, I didn't like the departure from Bionicle at first, but there was vision with Hero Factory that I could respect. And their sets were simple, which I think was a good idea, going with simple after they were starting to over-design the Bionicle kits in later years. And then with the reboot, like I said, they over-designed the Bionicle kits, so I didn't like them that much. Let's see. Know a lot about Gundam. Iron-Blood Orphans, not that great. 08th MS team is best Gundam. Okay, I'll have to give that a shit. I'll have to look into that, because I've been enjoying Iron-Blooded Orphans a lot. But again, I'm new to Gundam, so I'll definitely have to I'll have to check that out later, because as a kid, I liked the Macross series. That's where I was at. And I saw recently that the Macross series had some sort of tabletop game coming out. At the very least, they were making... Check out All Noah Zero also, not Gundam. Oh, I'll check it out. I like mecha series for the most part, so I'll definitely give it a look. Selection, I can see that. I would say if you want to give... The thing is with mecha series is mecha's cool, but mecha doesn't... Releasing tabletop, grew up on Robotech. Yes, Robotech. Robotech Macross. I know it's technically just different ways of saying it, but yeah, Robotech is my favorite. And they're coming out with vector sets from Robotech to build and use. And so I want to get a couple of vector sets because my friend had the Robotech Battlecry game on GameCube, and that was so fun to do PvP on. We played that for quite a while, and I absolutely enjoyed it. Because it was fun to be able to change from all three forms of the vector, either in space or on the ground in Earth atmosphere. It was super cool. I also, hold on, because if I'm not mistaken... Alright, gotta grab something else. Went from showing off my Bionicle sets. Now I gotta grab my most prized piece of paper. Oops. Because... Alright. One of my most prized things that I found is I didn't realize they had an actual Robotech comic book that came out. So when I found this in a comic shop, I straight up bought this. I bought this issue and I want to buy the rest. I've still got it in its little foil. I did read it with gloves on, but I have that. Whew. Yeah, I did not realize Robotech had an actual comic series. So when I saw that at a comic book shop when I was looking for DC comics, that a novel series, Harmony Goldman, gosh dang, I'm gonna have to look into that. Because I really liked what Robotech and Macross came up with. I liked the series, but I also need to actually finish watching it. Because I started as a kid, I never finished it, and I need to find where I can watch all of it. I also need to find a watch order. To remind you of what happened on episode 1, gosh dang. I've been so focused on everything else. What happened in episode 1? I had heard about Mr. T having a comic series. I hadn't read it, but I had heard of it. Technically, Robotech and Gundam, all that's just anime. Just very old stuff. Macross, Robotech, that stuff started in the 80s, I believe, and just kind of continued, but wasn't as popular as Gundam. Because I know Aquarion's one of my favorite series. That series is a little divisive at times. But also because Aquarion Logos exists, and quite honestly, I don't know anybody who actually finished watching Aquarion Logos. Because Aquarion, the beginning, it was the story, it set everything up. Aquarion Evol, continuation of the series 10,000 years afterwards. Honestly, I kind of want both. Just because everything to do with the vectors was so cool to me that I kind of just want all of it. the more lore, the more story, the better for me. But for the... Sorry, I was on a tirade earlier, and I definitely want to finish my thought there before I forget. For those who haven't seen the Aquarion series or been involved with it, Aquarion's weird because they set up this entire story of how an angel rebelled against the angels and helped save humanity. Angel fell in love with a human. Human had a wife, and he was in love with that person. 10,000 years later, they reincarnate, and all of a sudden, the angel starts helping who he thought was his reincarnated lover, as well as the reincarnated woman. Turns out, by a divine prank, he helped the reincarnation of the dog and his male lover's wife. Try my best, but gotta be interesting as well. And so that whole thing happens, and so the dog and the wife have a reincarnation, and they fight with the angel. Angel gets duped. Angel gets mad. 10,000 years more, and the events of the first series is now turned into a popular movie, where the reincarnation of the dog has been split into two different bodies now across two different planets. Yep. Saving the universe against an angelic threat. And then after that, second series happens. Eventually everything calms down, everything works out. But he's very mad because he found out his lover actually has not been reincarnating like his wife and his dog, but has been in the same body ever since and has just wandered the earth while working to help keep the Aquarions under lock, under key, and safely used only when needed. And then Aquarion Logos happens. Aquarion Logos takes place in what feels like a normal, everyday Japan. The Aquarions are used because there's a demon who just takes a random word from the dictionary, turns the evil, and then they have to defeat the personification of that evil word to free somebody and the word and destroy the demon's hold on the physical plane. And quite honestly, I got lost at Aquarion Logos. I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I like Aquarion Evol the most out of the first two, but they were really good mecha series because it's what you get from typical mecha series. It's a love story that just has a giant robot fight during the love story. Really good characters, really good mix of everything. But after that, it just kind of doesn't work after a bit. Because then Logos is just, hey, dictionary's evil. Have fun, kids. We're beating up the dictionary. There's a demon making words mean, so now we're going to beat up the words. It was just a tonal shift, and I didn't care. I'm certain there's probably a way that ties it into the overall lore of the series, but Aquarion Logos was so weird to me that I just couldn't get past like episode 3 or 4. Comic Got Killed is going to be the most traumatic anime ever. I need to think of traumatic anime. You know what? Yeah. Reading isn't for everyone. Aquarion Logos is for the people who hate reading the most. Kill the words. For traumatic anime, that's hard because Akame ga Kill tugged at your heartstrings because it built up most of the characters that, for the ones that you liked on both sides, and you felt bad when people died. So I definitely say Akame ga Kill was good in that regard, and I liked it. However, the manga is different from the anime, yada, yada, yada. Let's get that distinction out of the way. But as far as the anime goes, it was good. I liked it a lot when I watched it. It's hard to convince people to watch it nowadays because everybody knows that the entire joke is Akame ga Kill is pronounced everyone got killed. But I like that one. Elfen Lied had a weird as fuck opening episode. Madoka Magica was just a mind fuck, which I think I was like, when did that one come out? Was Madoka Magica 2008 or was it 2014? I don't remember. I remember it was a very pivotal anime when it came out. I think it was 2008. But I think I watched some of it when I was 14 and it messed me up. So I think I think Madoka Magica would be the mindfuck one for me. That was the most traumatic. I'd say it would be that one off the top of my head, but it's been so long since I last seen my son. Gosh dang it. Now the Five Nights at Freddy's brain rot's getting to my head. Gosh dang it, Kevin. For those who don't know, Kevin is somebody that I'm friends with in real life. She is very into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, and she occasionally is there on stream when I've been there, when my other friend Jarfair has been streaming. She also made Jarfair's emotes that she's recently been able to use. But I don't know what it was. Every time I hear or think of anything Five Nights at Freddy's, Kevin comes to mind, because that's like the one person I know who absolutely loves the lore and the story behind it. SAO was the most traumatic anime? I'm curious. Do explain. Because I can see why it was like the first anime that a lot of people saw, or why it was like the most impactful, but gosh, it's been so long since I've seen SAO. Which scenes are you referring to? Because I know SAO had some messed up scenes, but I'm blanking on them. SAO is Sword Art Online. Gosh dang, is his eye filled in? That's annoying. Okay. We're going to carve that out. Hey, no worries, man. I don't always remember every single acronym that people have for different series, so it happens. What happened to this dude's eye? Looks like something filled it in. Kinda don't want that. Did I see? Let me check. Oh, the perv scenes. Okay. And Roosh, I did not see. Could you drop it again, please? I didn't see it earlier. I'm trying to go through the chat and I'm not seeing. But yeah, no, gosh dang it, what was his name? But yeah, I know who you're talking about now, Crab. Yeah, those scenes were definitely creepy. Okay, the eye seems to be free, so we're going to call that good there. Thank goodness. I was scared. The mascot of mine? Which, no, that's fair, Crab. That's fair. The mascot of mine. Are you talking about my my self-insert, like the drawn character I have, like the PFP? I mean, I'm not surprised it's a little emo. I was emo back in the day. But no, it's supposed to be my self-insert. It's basically just a Pokemon trainer whose partner is a Sableye. That's just kind of what my thing is. So Yeah, probably does look a little edgy, but it's supposed to be a dude in a sweater with a sable on his back. But it's just a little Pokemon. It's a ghost, dark type. I just love him to death. So that's what I have for him. 'Cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. Gosh dang. I loved that song unironically when I was a kid. I'm not even gonna pretend I didn't. I listen to it so often. Like, it's probably not a good thing to admit to nowadays, but I loved Secondhand Serenade so much. Oh yeah, it is. Macross too, as it is non-canon. Good to know. Oh yeah, before I forget, because I don't know if you guys were here earlier, I was able to get these guys fixed. I was able to get the butterfly back onto his glued on so that his legs were working. And I was able to fix the strands on her and also get her glued to her base. So I was able to get those guys fixed off screen. I figured I should give that update since all of y'all are here now. I mean, I like to Kame Ga Kill a lot. Then, I mean, my favorite character was Bula, and he died pretty quickly, so I was a little sad about that, but still. Okay. Side by side, I'm seeing some differences here that I'm going to have to work with. Because on the one hand, the shiny black armor is kind of cool, but I like how this base coat turned out more. Because it gives more light and more definition to the black armor, so that details pop a bit more. So I'm definitely going to stick with this over this guy. But I'm still satisfied with how that turned out. If you want a Kame Ga Kill, I would say if you have ad blocker, I would say 9 Anime is a good spot to watch it. That's where I watch some of my stuff. Yep. Selection's dropping all the good spots. Hopefully those places are still up for a while. Thankfully, I'm not that big of a content creator, so we're not going to lose them because we posted them in my chat, but still. If we talk too much about the anime pirate sites, we're going to lose them. And by virtue of I don't like Crunchyroll, I've always pirated anime, because I don't know about you guys, but I was there back when Crunchyroll was making the rounds of like, hey, we're a legit service. The only issue I had with it is because Crunchyroll, when they first came out, their advertising was, they pay animators in Japan fair wages to make sure that anime is made ethically and people are paid a fair wage. Until it came out that they kind of lied about marketing, and that they were actually just paying animators to make their own in-house series that turned into High Guardian Spice, which we all rightly clowned on, which was so bad, pirate sites didn't even have High Guardian Spice on their websites. But yeah, because of that, I just never want to support Crunchyroll in anything that I do, because it was scummy that they had such a false sense of advertising, and people did not call them out, and people continue to use their service to this day. It's fine if you want to support them, but I'm just not going to. And the amount of people who try to tell me to use it, like, no, I'm not going to. Using Anime Haven now, all the other keep having issues with posting on time. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm trying to watch a lot of older series, because I like to binge watch things. And trying to keep up to date with new releases on the pirate sites is tedious at best. Because I definitely want to, but there's too much going on and some sites just aren't able to keep up. Oh yeah, I use other websites, but it's difficult because you got to bounce between them. I just miss the days when we all had, where we either watched part 1 of 17 on YouTube or we just went to Kiss Anime and called it good. Back in the simple times. Now you got to find a new anime website every few months because Crunchyroll's still trying to take other places down. And piracy is just a symptom of a bad service. You provide a bad service, you're going to get people who commit piracy like no tomorrow. I mean, I will straight up say it. It is a skill issue if a pirate site is doing better than your supposedly legit business. Like, if you are a website that's dedicated to one thing and pirate sites are known to do better than you, yeah, you're just bad. It isn't piracy until the enemy gets official translations. You know what? That's true, Roosh. That is true. You are right. Back in the time we used to watch explanations. Yeah, that works. That's why I know English, to be honest. Fair. Piracy is cool. Piracy is based. Well, Crunchyroll has more of a monopoly. They do get a license, but they'll pay pennies for it because they don't have any actual competitors. So it's just annoying because Crunchyroll can kind of do whatever the hell they want with any anime they get their hands on. They don't pay a lot of money for it, and if it flops and they don't care. Much to the chagrin of people who actually enjoyed it. Like when Funimation got the license for interspecies reviewers for that anime. I actually enjoy that anime a lot, and they dumped it, so it's never getting an official English dub. But it does have its English sub that you can find on very scandalous websites. Thank you, Selection. John, competition was Funimation, yeah. Subtitle anime on VHS, yeah, that was a time. Gosh dang. That was before my time, because I got into anime back in 2011. However, Krillin cussing like a sailor sounds like a phenomenal time. I would love to see that. So we've got the skull kind of done. $1984. Oh, yeah. I mean, not to make you feel old, Roosh, but I wasn't even born in 1984. I was January of 2000, so I got into anime first back in 2011 because I was flirting with a girl who was definitely into it, but gosh dang, I should have not been flirting with her. Not because she was bad or anything, but because she got me to a lot of the yaoi series and tried to get me to read what she liked. And that was, oh boy. Like, there was one series she got me to watch that she convinced me to get into called Loveless. Loveless was weird. I am jealous. Watching Robotech on the first air, I am jealous of that. I would have loved to have been part of that time. I saw Goddamn It Because of a Girl. Hey, same. That's what I did for it. Because when I was a kid, my mother had a friend whose wife ran a daycare. And I remember my first exposure to Robotech was because at the daycare, I became friends with his kids, and their dad was watching the actual Robotech anime, on Netflix, because Netflix had everything at the time, because it was the only streaming service in like the early 2000s. This was like 2005, I want to say. Or I think he might have had the DVD set actually instead. But he was watching that, and I remember the name Musica was always in the back of my mind ever since then. Like, I didn't even know the name of the series until I just looked up anime with character named Musica, where? And that's how I found out it was called Robotech, and I went down a rabbit hole and went, oh, that's what that is. I should watch that again and actually figure out what was on the screen, because it seemed cool. Had it on DVD too? Nice. I should probably actually just buy it instead of trying to pirate it, but I don't even know where. Anime on Blu-ray or DVD in general is just so expensive. Gone to anime because of a random episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Not a bad series to get introduced to anime to, not gonna lie. JoJo's I definitely like. I don't like every part the same, but I do like it. Part 2 and Part 5 are my favorite. Yes, I know that's the basic bitch take. Part 2 is just my favorite though, because Joseph is a prankster and he was just fun to watch on screen. Absolutely loved him. Then let's try this green to see how that goes. Oh, Dio is a phenomenal villain. I mean, I go so far as to say that Dio is the actual protagonist of JoJo's, because literally every part happened in direct relation because of Dio. If it wasn't for Dio, that series just would not exist in the same way. He caused every problem in that world. Friend and I would join Xbox parties and just yell Jotaro Dio to each other as a greeting. There you go, yep. Character from rom-com is Miku from Quintessential Quintuplets. Quintessential Quintuplets, that's a good series. I like that series a lot, actually. From a rom-com, my favorite series would be Arachnera from Everyday Life with Monster Girls. I like her a lot there. That's a fun harem series with a good character. However, if it was my favorite, I think I would also go Quintessential as well, because I think Nino from Quintessential is my favorite rom-com love interest of all time. I liked Nino the most. Corey in the house. There you go, Corey in the house. No, that's fair. I mean, it was in the, like, JoJo's was originally written in the 80s, just like Fist of the North Star. So they were created at the same time. And then JoJo's art style changed over time. Like, part 4, if you read the manga, part 4 really switched things up. Because the art style went from the big buff men like Fist of the North Star to the twinks that are always in power that you see in like part 4 and onward, and like part 5 especially. But yeah, no, that's fair. Fist of the North Star definitely had its impact, and I can definitely see why it would be difficult to get into it. So yeah, makes sense. So sad Miku didn't win. Honestly, with Quintessential Quintuplets, I am conflicted because I can see why almost every character could win. The only character that I think should never win was Itsuki, and I'm glad she didn't win last I checked. Because having it be Yotsuba made sense to me from the backstory and the character stuff. I mean, she was set up better in the anime than the manga, but still, she kind of comes out of left field after Miku was kind of like the poster girl of who we all thought was going to win for the first while. So waiting to see this new Akira anime series they're making. Oh, Akira's, that's going to be interesting. Blue hair, blue tie, hiding in your Wi-Fi. Not that Miku. It's a Miku Nakano from Quintessential Quintuplets. Not as iconic, but still fairly iconic. Though that Miku would win instantly, as opposed to the Quint Miku, almost but didn't quite. She definitely captivated more the audience's heart, though, because she was the first one to really become a decent love interest at the beginning. All right, just to make sure. No, that's fair. Oh yeah, no, that's fair, because there's a Miku who transcends every series because she's just the Vocaloid that everybody knows. Granted, when I was into Vocaloids, I was more into the Kegamine twins. Knew someone would say that. Yeah, no, that's fair. Miku's overrated. It when it comes to Vocaloids, it's hard to say. Leave it to the least knowledgeable person to ask. Oh, that's fair. Well, because when it comes to Vocaloids, it's hard because Miku earned her place in Japan as like the number one. And I don't contest that. However, for favorites, you definitely had other people who were in different sections and camps because, again, I like the Kegamine twins more. I was more into Butterfly on Your Shoulder than any other Miku song. Like, Miku has good songs, but I was not exactly a Miku glazer back in the day. I think she does make good stuff. She is cool. She's not my favorite, though. Teto's good, yeah. I think you say Teto. I don't remember. It's been so long since I was in there. Ask me another question. What's up? Well, fair enough. Let's see. Decent there. So I should also say, I know that for the previous guys, I did the I freehanded these symbols. I found on Etsy there is a decal transfer sheet, so I'm gonna do decals on these guys once those come in, so that way I can compare the differences between freehanding the chapter symbols and putting the actual chapter symbols on them, so that hopefully I can get a bit of a better look. That's what I'm hoping, at least. Have I watched High School DxD? Yes, I have seen all 5 seasons of High School DxD and all of the OVAs. I was very caught up and I've seen all of it. And I also know the reason why we're not getting another season for probably ever. But yeah, I've seen all of it. If I'm not mistaken, I think my favorite, because it always comes up whenever anybody talks about High School DxD, favorite character at the time was Zenobia. I like Zenobia a lot. She was fun. Asia, of course, was the best choice and best girl. But Zenobia was kind of the one I liked the most. It's R+ rated. Yeah, and I was... Look, I will admit to my sins. I was a kid who... Rias better. Rias is fine. I understand why people like Rias. Rias was never my favorite. I can understand why people liked Rias. She was never my personal favorite. I liked Asia a lot better, which I know is controversial and will get me in a lot of trouble with some people. Asia, I think, was better. Want to see the guys I have built painted recently? Absolutely, man. I always excited to see what other people are building and making. Especially because it always gives me inspiration when I see what other people do, because some people have... I like how when other people have inspiration. With one of my friends, he's been working on the new Emperor's Children set. He bought it with his brother, and he's got some cool and some crazy builds with the Emperor's Children set he's got. I like it a lot. We're going to do Sergeant Helmet, but we're going to do so much what the Ultramarines do. Yeah, when will we get a voice reveal? I don't know. Is my normal voice not good? Do I need to change my voice and reveal it as something else? Because I can definitely change my voice. I can make it deeper if that's what people prefer. I don't know. I just think talking like this is going to get a little... Talking like this is definitely going to get a little exhausting for me vocally, because I can only maintain a deep voice for so long. Feet pics when? Never. The reason why I'm saying feet pics are never is because if I ever get desperate enough for money... Nah, I was trying to act like Americans. Ah, fair. If I ever get desperate enough for money, I will 100% contact my friend who's an esthetician who knows how to send, whatchamacallit. So she was an esthetician, so she went to beauty school and knows how to do pedicures. I would just pay her to make videos of her doing manicures and pedicures on my hands and feet so I can sell those on OnlyFans. So if my feet are ever revealed, that is the day when I am so bad I'm going to catfish dudes into giving me money for my feet pics. That is how it will be. I hope never to have to, but as far as the future is concerned, I am financially decent well enough that I'm just going to do that. Because ain't no way y'all getting feet pics for free. Yes, I do actually, because my friend and I have talked about this a couple of times. She and I have talked about if I ever need to make the money, I will 100% just be a model and have her practice doing pedicures on my feet, and we'll post it to OnlyFans. 1000%, and we will catfish people thinking I am a chick. Perfect, I will check that out when I'm done streaming, Rouge, thank you. As you can probably tell, I stream from my phone, so it's not always the best connection. But I will definitely check that out. I just can't really back out of stream and work on and open tabs while I'm streaming from my phone. I mean, I am German, yes. I've got German in my blood. My father was half German, half Native American. Then my mother had German, Austrian, and Irish on her side of the family. Hey, no, you're getting fake pics for free, Coil 2025. Yes. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Y'all want my feet, you can pay for it. But because I know somebody's going to enjoy my feet too much if they see it on the internet, and I am not going to live with the knowledge that I gave that away for free. There's some things I just can't sleep at night knowing that I've done. Okay. So Sergeant. So I'm planning to do is I'm trying to copy an Ultramarines. Bro's a descendant of the goat. No, I'm not descendant of him. No, his family actually is. His family's well documented. I'm not a part of that. Though we don't fully know where my grandfather came from. But my idea for the helmet so far is I'm going to do it purple, but I want to copy the Ultramarines idea where, like with Titus, so I want to do either a silver or a white line going up the top through there, and then painting the skull maybe gold to make it stand out more. Just so that way there's a little bit more helmet decoration on him. Because so far, I like how this is turning out, but I want to make sure I have some more detail and some more fun with his helmet. Get a free jar of Toe Jam with every Prime membership. If I do that, I'm straight up going to steal that idea, Roosh, but I'm going to add on the joke from Chowder, where everybody eats Toe Jam with a spoon. So I'm going to have not a jar, but a spoonful of fake Toe Jam right next to it. Just so that way people who've seen Chowder from my generation will understand, and everybody else will be wondering what the actual hell. But then, because what I want to do is, Sergeant's going to have a special helmet. This guy's already got his own special helmet that I apparently some super glue got on, so I had to carve away a little bit, but want to do glowing red eye here, regular eye, then just regular helmet color there. But yeah. So far these kits are coming together and I'm feeling very confident about them, which makes me even laugh even more that we finished this one first and then we're getting to these guys. This guy's getting good enough I might be able to actually prime him. Wait, no. That's too shiny on the neck, so we're not priming him just yet. But, oh, man. But, yeah, goodness gracious. Sorry, I need to stretch out for a bit. My neck is killing me. I also need to get some more red onto my wet palette, because I need to get, while I'm doing small stuff. Custom Blood Angel Successor Chapter primary color is gray. You know what? Fair. Also, Blood Angels is a good choice. That's a good choice. But gray is a good color. I think gray, as far as armor sets can go, is very versatile because similar to black, gray works well with everything. However, gray doesn't have the issue like black does for armor. What on earth is that emoji? Gosh dang. Pouring water? Okay. Yes, I don't know. I lost track of emojis because I didn't even have a smartphone when I was a kid. So I've never been up to date on those. No worries, Crab. I'm about to end stream fairly soon just because my phone is also dying. It's only got so much battery life and I gotta make sure I keep track of everything. But thank you for showing up, man, and hope you can get some sleep tonight. We all need sleep as much as some of us don't like it. Thank you. Have a great night too, man. Take care now. There we go. I will say, though, I've also been spending a lot of time with... There's an anime I found last year that I kind of ignored when it first came out called Call of the Night. That one, I've been trying to live by what Nazuna said from it, which is people go to... Bye, I'm going to go play football outside. All right. Take care, man. Score a few goals. Or at the very least, get a few tunnels. Make sure to assert dominance when playing. But there is a saying from that anime, Call of the Night, that I really enjoyed, which one of the main characters says, which is people can go to bed or people can sleep at night when they feel satisfied with their day. And if they don't, they have trouble sleeping at night. And I kind of live by that idea, is that because I've noticed it as maybe it's just placebo upon hearing that, but I definitely sleep better at night if I actually do feel good about what I did during the day. That's kind of why I started streaming because I've had this YouTube channel for a while, but it's kind of hard to make review content on a consistent basis. And I wanted to make more because I've had this channel, I've been making stuff, and I've been writing out scripts for videos, but I never got it done. But streaming actually kind of made me feel more productive, and I felt like I was actually doing something with my channel. So I've enjoyed it more. But then the whole thought and ideology of people can actually go to sleep when they feel like they've satisfied with their day is something I've been striving to do a lot more of. Because I know that when I've put my full energy into everything I've done for the day, I definitely sleep better afterwards. So I've definitely been trying to live by that more. Because I feel that by living like that, I actually feel more... I can accept life more by doing that. Gray, red, black, silver with turquoise eyes. I can't paint as well as I used to with my hands having random muscle spasms. Yeah, that would definitely make it difficult. I can see that. That is one thing I'm kind of jealous of. A lot of people seem to have much more steady hands, where mine shake all the friggin' time. Like, I try to brace my hands on my desk so that they don't shake as much, but I'm pretty sure the camera also picks up that my hands shake quite a bit. But gray, red, black, and silver with turquoise eyes. I do like the color combination, especially with the turquoise eyes, because I can see that really be highlighting everything and popping out more. So I definitely like it. But, oh, man. I don't know. I've had a lot of time to think about life in the past year. It's really been catching up with me. Because there's at one point where I got very close to proposing and asking somebody to marry me. Then I lost a very steady job that I had for quite a few years. Although I hated that job, I ended up having to find a new job that didn't pay as well. And yet, even though I'm at a job that doesn't pay as much, I definitely feel more fulfilled by working it. But I definitely don't want to stay in that industry for too much longer either. But over this past year, I've had a lot of time to think about life, what I want out of it, and what I want to do. And it was kind of the perfect storm for me to find Call of the Night and just have that epiphany of people sleep better when they feel fulfilled with their day. Bad industry? Oh yeah, I was working in insurance. I was working in a credit card insurance call center as a claims adjuster. And gosh dang, I hated it with a passion. Like, when I first got into it, the card and the company I was working for, we did have good benefits that actually genuinely helped people when situations went wrong in their lives, and we could offer coverage. But as time went on, what happened was they started changing their terms and conditions, they changed the benefits they offered, and it just became less and less of an actual service. And I went from having to work with people saying, look, I get it, I understand it's inconvenient, but that's just how cards change, to I used to recommend people go to that company for credit cards and their benefits because they were actually good at the time. Nowadays, they've removed like almost every single benefit every card had. But it's like, I can't in good faith tell you to go for that anymore, because there was a time when it was good. That time is over and has been for quite a long time, though. And so, as time went on, I just felt like I was ripping off people rather than helping them. Because, the lie that we're all told about insurance is it's supposed to help people. We're supposed to be able to, shit happens in life. We're supposed to be able to cover them, help them figure out what the next step is, give them some coverage, and just make things a little less worse. But as management and corporation decided to make new changes, we just helped people less and less that I just, like, sure, insurance was always a scam, but it just really became more and more apparent that it was a scam. The more that the shareholders were losing money, they would force changes that just made the product and everything offered worse over time. That is true. That is true. However, when I first got into the industry, I was 20 years old. And so at first, with how everything was, I felt like we were actually helping people back then. The more I learned about insurance, the more I realized that you are totally correct, Roosh, that it was never for the common person, for their help and benefit. But I just got disenfranchised because there were times where I felt like I actually genuinely helped people with their benefits. But those benefits were removed from the cards, and so it was straight up, oh yeah, we used to help you with issues like that. Now, we don't anymore. It wore me down. Sure, I was a naive kid and I was disenfranchised with the industry, but I didn't have to be. Because there was definitely ways that if they just didn't remove the benefits, they still would have actually been helping people. And so, I don't know. Insurance is a scam, always has been, always will be, and it's just a way to get us to pay more money for things that they're most likely never going to help us out with. I worked in insurance, I was a licensed claims adjuster in the US, and yet, it just, I don't know, it was just wearing me down. Between that and almost, but not quite getting married last year, shit just went downhill for a while. I've been recovering and I'm in a better spot now, but last year was definitely rough on me. But thankfully, this year's been much kinder to me, all things considered. And I'm definitely glad that I have this hobby to just relax and do things with. Company, she got a bonus if I was hired. Then crap happened with the economy, and now I have been. Hilariously enough, it's because my mother got a bonus for recommending me to the company. She got an extra $500 because I stayed there for quite a while. That is how I got my insurance job. My mother worked for the same company. She got a bonus if she recommended me, and I stayed because it was the only job I could find that paid decent, work from home, and I was able to move out of my parents' house with it. However, my reason for getting it out was so when I first got the position, I was just somebody who answered the phones. And I would go through, I'd explain the claim, I'd explain the benefits, and I just help customers with understanding what was going on. And that was it. My supervisor recommended that I try for the adjuster position. Now, I was 21, and I didn't even know what a deductible was when I first started working there. That company kind of expected me to have the experience of somebody who was living in the US since they were 18 to 30 years old. When I was 18, I received a call to serve a mission, so I went and lived in Mexico. And I came back from the pandemic in 2020 when I was 20 years old. And so I didn't really know what was going on, and I never knew anything about insurance. But my supervisor, my mother, and a few other people pressured me to getting a promotion for a position that I didn't think I was ready to handle. And with how the company trained me, I wasn't ready to handle it. That company, my training was 2 separate sessions of 2-hour videos watching through Microsoft Teams somebody else process claims. Like, that was all my training. And so, of course, I never did well in that position, and so they eventually let me go because I wasn't meeting quota for numbers. Great companies from the 80s and 90s now just use employees and throw them away. So, yeah. Which kind of sucks because I am a monotonous kind of person. I will show up to work, I will do my job, and I will just get it done. Just train me to do it right the first time. with one of my companies, they just didn't train, like that company didn't really train me on my new position that they pressured me into getting a promotion in. And I just floundered and caused more trouble. The only reason why I probably stayed in that position for so long is because I was bilingual. And so I could read a lot of languages whenever we had to do insurance coverages or details for theft claims in Europe. I could translate most of the documents for people. And so my supervisor and other people would just reach out to me and be like, hey, Quail, can you translate this document for me? Because I don't read this language. And that was probably the reason why I was so useful and stayed as long as I did, despite never truly doing well at that position. Like, I understood it, but I just wasn't cut out for that position at all. Oh, but, you know, that's how work goes. You don't get trained, you do your best, but your best isn't going to be enough if you don't really know what you're doing. So, shit happens. But like I said, with the job I have now, I'm not staying as a caregiver forever, but I do enjoy it a bit more. A bit more. Being a caregiver and working with old people is definitely not something I can do forever. It's a solid position, and it's definitely taught me more about people, but it's definitely difficult, and it's draining. But going to the gym after every shift and getting all my anger out by lifting a bunch of weights definitely helps with keeping myself in line, keep myself grounded a little bit. So I definitely prefer it more. Especially because I feel like I actually do help people more often. Sure, it's in more dire situations where sometimes I have to lift people off the floor because they fell because they lost balance. But I definitely feel like I help people more there. The only problem is I want a job where I don't help people anymore because empathy is tiring. My company used to have a 1 week orientation that you trained on the job for 3 months. The 8-hour orientation, you get 2 weeks of training. Yeah. They're really cutting corners on training, which to me feels weird because even if you get somebody who is college educated, they still need training on the company, like in any industry you go into. Like, I mean, sure, I'm a college dropout, so maybe I missed like the classes where they teach you how to fit into a corporation. But there is the whole thing of, if you're in college, you were supposed to be more knowledgeable about certain things, but that doesn't prepare you for the company's culture and how they handle things on a day-to-day basis. They come in as a temporary contractor for 5 years before being hired, where they start getting benefits. Yeah. Like, internships really just mean nothing nowadays. Because being an intern meant that you were still at school, but you were on the process of maybe being hired there so that you had a better chance. Nowadays, I don't know, it just feels like there's no reason. I mean, I do want to actually go back and finish college when I can afford it. But it's hard. It's a hard thing because getting started is easy, but the follow through and finishing is difficult. Especially when you got it. Because for me, I have to pay for it all myself. And so I don't want, like, I want to pay for it without having to take out student loans. And so I can only take like one class a semester if I'm lucky. Just depends on if I have money and I don't have a financial crisis at the time. Internships now just cheap labor for companies. Yeah, they really are. And my heart goes out to people because getting a job in this job market sucks. Because if you get an internship, you're free labor. You don't even get any decent chance of getting hired again. And then if you get a college degree, depending on what you get it in, there's a high chance you're not even going to be in that industry. Which is why I had decision paralysis when I was in college. because I wanted to be an archaeologist and specifically a paleontologist because I really liked dinosaurs. And I thought digging in certain areas looking for dinosaur bones and assembling them and figuring out what goes where, who was where, and what part was what, that would have been cool. Except they don't get paid that well at the time when I was looking into it, and the college was going to be insane. Apply for grants, those are not loans, we're just required. Let's say there'd be a ton of money per grant, but they help. Yeah, that is what I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to have to look into it because I never learned how to apply for grants. I should, because technically I am a Native American. I'm registered with my tribe and everything. I just don't know how to apply for those tribal bonuses and grants. And I really should figure it out just because that would help me a lot with getting through college. However, college is kind of in the back of my mind right now because my main thing is trying to pay off my car and just moving forward in that part of life. But that's just how it is. Gotta figure it out bit by bit. One day I'll have it all done, but that will take a while. Really? I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Roosh. I mean, knowing that that exists means that I should be able to Google it and find something about it, so I can definitely look into it. As long as I have a lead, I can definitely work with that. It's just more of getting a decent lead. Because sometimes I'll ask for help and people just say, oh, well, just look it up. Okay, cool. What if I ask the wrong questions? Because I am kind of mentally damaged, so I'm not exactly the best at finding things at times. If I have a specific topic or goal in mind, it's easier to find out, but sometimes I have trouble formulating what I want to ask, and so that always screws me over with that stuff. It's kind of why I wish I could just find a decent paying manual labor job that I can learn. However, there are no coal mines in my area, or else I just do that. Actually, people at the college may be able to give you the website. I might have been able to go to school. Yeah. That would make sense if, just in case you got people like me who need the help but don't know where to go. That would make sense if they have that there. So, yeah. Just gotta get started again sometime in the future. However, that will definitely take a while for me to get back into the swing of things. It's also why I'm glad my mother just about never watches my content, because the last thing I need is for her to find out that I admitted on stream that I had stopped going to college for a bit. Not because I didn't want to go to college, but because I just couldn't afford it. How do I want about? I mean, yeah, it happens. I just feel bad because I've definitely struggled for quite a bit, and I don't want my mother to worry too much about me. I can't stop her from worrying about me because she is my mother and all that. But, just don't want her to worry about school too much for me. There's only so much that I can do. I know that, she knows that, but I just want her to be more at ease and focus on my brother rather than me. Because if she has to worry about me too much, then I'm just going to feel guilty about it. But yeah, that's just kind of just been some things that have been going on for me. Just trying to figure out life. And this past year, I've had a lot of time just to think about things, figure out what it is I want to do, what I want to pursue, and how I want to go about it. And it's definitely helped me get perspective on life, much more than I would have gotten if I had stayed at my old job. Even though I didn't leave it by choice, but still. Yeah, I hear that. But it is what it is. Some people make it back and they do alright for themselves. That's what I'm hoping I'm able to do. However, we shall see. Thank you, Direwolf. Though I thought you were going to bed earlier. Not that I'm complaining, I'm glad that you're here. But I was hoping you'd be able to get some sleep too. You got some sleep, like an hour. Okay. Got this guy. But yeah, so earlier, while you were gone, we were able to get this guy finished and based up. So I still need to throw some blood in there, but I was waiting for the pink to dry because that pink takes forever to dry. But he's done. Now just working on these guys. Thank you. Yeah, go for it. So if you're short and there's a spider near the roof, how do you kill it? Depends on the distance. I would normally say take a ruler or just a long, thin piece of something that is fairly sturdy, and then tape or glue, get some toilet paper on it, and just crush it. That would be inside, at least. That would be my advice. Hate spiders and to see one. Ah, well. No problem. I'm okay with spiders. I can't deal with scorpions. Ever since I lived in Mexico. Cannot do those things. Like, yes, they're one of God's creations, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say anything against that. Scorpions just creep me out. Do not like them at all. I can't do scorpions. The thing is, so growing up where I lived, she's gone to kill a spider. Little did she know I was watching the stream trying to figure out how to get rid of her. Potentially. Never know. Spiders are crafty. It just jumped at you. Oh no. Okay, you did kill it. That's good. If it jumped at you, then I assume it was one of those jumping spiders, which, if that's the case, that's not the worst spider to have to deal with. I know for me, scorpions are the bane of my existence. Just because when I was living in Mexico, I learned about how they are, because I wanted to make sure I could protect myself, because where I live, scorpions, it is too cold of a climate where I live for scorpions to live. So I've never had to deal with them before. When I lived in Mexico, I definitely had to learn how to deal with them because they definitely were in my house. But the more I learned about how they are as a species and what they can do, the more just absolutely I developed more and more hatred for scorpions the more I learned about them. And so I kind of became the meme of me studying up on lore so I can be racist more accurately. I did that except for scorpions. I am a professional scorpion hater at this point. Cannot stand things. I understand why people might like them. I can't. That is not a thing I can do. It's not a thing I will tolerate. So I will forever live in cold areas because I refuse to be in a place that can allow scorpions to live. The reason I fear spiders is because of the possibilities they could do with a bite. I mean, depending on the species, yeah. Depending on the species, they can be quite devastating and painful. That's straight, outright, just deadly. Really just depends. Alright. Gotta get the Imperialis on this guy. Goodness gracious, I didn't realize I hadn't got him yet. Okay. But yeah, no, where I live, thankfully, it's too cold for most of the deadly or scary spiders. Besides the recluse. The brown recluse is one that I have to deal with, but I don't think I've ever seen one in person yet. Just because, thankfully, we're clean enough we don't have to deal with them. But they are a thing in my area. Not one I want to deal with, but they are a thing. Massive old spider beside me on the wall outside. It was almost the side of my face, so I was freaking out badly. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, seeing a spider that big, I can see that being exceptionally creepy and scary. For me, I'm okay with spiders as long as they don't crawl on me. Stay off me, I won't lay a hand on you. I have a non-aggression pact with them. As soon as you step one claw on me, nah, all bets are off at that point. I just hate the feeling of insects in general. I hate the feeling of their legs and their tiny little claws going up and down my arm. Especially because I can feel it on my arm hair when they're grabbing the individual hairs with their legs. I hate that, it's so creepy. Just do not like that feeling. Had encountered brown recluse before my dad burned the nest off. Burning the nest is good, yeah, you need to. Recluse spiders are nasty if they bite you. They are definitely one of the spiders that it is warranted to say it is on site. When it comes to recluse, it is definitely on site. I will not stand for them to be around. Not as much as scorpions. Scorpions are more on site for me than recluse spiders, but a recluse is definitely high tier shit list. Yeah, understandable. When things go down like that, you just... there's just some things you just don't want to mess with and be around. So, yeah, I can see that. Okay. I know I've got a purity seal here. Do I have any more on these guys? Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some orange and my red real fast just to get more of a waxy color is what I'm hoping for. Mix that a bit. Change the color just a tad. So I think I'm just going to do the purity seals. I'm going to get the wax seal colored in. Then I think I'm just going to end stream from there because I'm getting tired. Oh, understandable, yeah. I spent a lot of times outdoors, so I had to learn about that stuff just to keep myself safe. And also because I did search and rescue, so we had to learn to look for different things of like, hey, here's the telltale signs of XYZ thing, here's what it is, and if somebody's bit by it, here's how to administrate some on-the-field first aid for what's about to happen. So I've definitely had to deal with that in the past, but I'm also very, very out of... what would you call it? I'm definitely rusty on my knowledge right now because I haven't studied or worked on it in so long. Especially for my mushroom hunting days. Alright. Sleep well, Direwolf, and take care now. Thank you for coming by and for stream, but yeah, hope you have a good night now. Okay. Gonna get this guy. Just got the wax seals done. Missiles are good. Yeah, I want to sleep on this because I might just paint his face purple again to get rid of, to make the line be less prominent because I don't know if I like it on the grill as is. But yeah. Overall though, we tried out the new black paint scheme for the armor, and honestly, I like the deep black for it, but I like how this kind of just leaves a bit more highlights on there as well. So I kind of like this new type wafer black, but got these guys fairly well done. We've got this guy finished up, so I can post him later. And then we got this guy glued and set up so that I can prime him soon and get him done. But we're going to call that there. Thank you everybody for coming by, for saying hi, for talking, chatting, or just for watching. I appreciate it. Hope all of you have a good night, good day, wherever you are, and I hope all of you take care. Until then, I'll see y'all later. Hope you have a good night.